for the Los Angeles Lakers last night, and they did just that. 94-85 over the T-Wolves. Luka led the way for the Lakers with 31 points, 12 rebounds, 9 assists. Reminder, the Mavs traded him in season for no apparent reason. And the King, LeBron James, had 21, 11 rebounds, 7 assists. Minnesota, their lowest point total of the year. CeCe, as a Lakers fan, exhale or no?
Well, it was a must-win game, and we won, so I feel good that we're not going to Minnesota down 0-2. I thought that last night LeBron and Luka were masterful. Even though they didn't shoot a high percentage from the field, they did a great job at being able to be active in a lot of other facets of their games. They were both great on the boards. They were great when it came to facilitating the greatness of others. The two combined for 16 assists after only having 4 combined in game 1. So I thought that was a key difference for the Lakers offense, making sure that they got the others involved early, making sure they got open looks for Rui, for Gabe Vincent, get Austin Reeves going. I thought that was the difference. That was why the Lakers were able to get out to that big lead where they dominated in the first quarter. I think it outscored Minnesota 34-15 in the first period. So I think the Lakers getting out to that hot start set the tone. You got others involved on offense, which means those players are going to be more engaged on defense, and we were able to ride that to the win.
Smalls, exhale for you. I know you're not a Lakers fan, but you did say must win last night for the Lakers. Like, good now?
No exhale, because I have no emotional investment in it the way that CeCe does. But yeah, this is the response that you wanted from the Lakers after game 1, especially after game 1 and in the wake of it, where you have their head coach, JJ Redick, saying mentally we might have been ready, but physically we were not. So to have the Lakers bounce back in this manner, be able to match that intensity, match that energy, match that physicality, I think is a pretty good sign. And to see Luka play the way he did, being able to have good defense, exploit those isolations on Rudy Gobert, I think that a lot of positive signs coming out of this for Lakers fans. But I don't know if I was a Lakers fan, if I would totally exhale, if I would feel comfortable heading into game 3. I think this is going to be a highly contested series all the way to the end.
I think I'm going to struggle. I got to be honest with you. Anytime we talk about Luka, not thinking about the Mavs, because when you just said, and many have said it also, that played good defense last night, I immediately go to Nico Harrison defense wins championships. And then I don't know when I'm not going to do that, because it's the most stunning trade in the history of our lifetime. And if you're going to sit here, as Smalls just did, and crediting Luka's defense, I mean, how do I not go to literally a day ago, 2 days ago, him talking about defense wins championships, and the Lakers, I'm not saying they're going to, but could win a championship this year, and he would play defense for them. It's wild. It's still wild that they actually traded this man. And even in a must-win game, who's their best player last night?
Luka.
No
Over
question.
the second greatest player to ever play the sport.
Yeah, he was 1 assist away from a 30-point triple-double. Luka was phenomenal.
In a must-win.
But I guess the part that scares me as a Lakers fan is that both LeBron and Luka flirted with the triple-double. The two combined to score over 50 points. And yet the Lakers, like, they still didn't have complete control of the game until that LeBron James steal that happened with 3 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Like they led wire to wire, but if you take the final 3 quarters of that game, the Timberwolves outscored the Lakers 70-60. So as a Lakers fan, I don't feel great about that. Like, Minnesota had a lot of things working against them. It was an off-shooting night. They only had 5 3-point makes off of 25 shots, so that's not great. They shot 38% from the field. And then, oh, by the way, you had Dante DiVincenzo and Naz Reid in early foul trouble, which screwed up the rotation for Chris Finch, and they were never able to get into an offensive flow. DiVincenzo had 3 fouls in the first quarter. Naz Reid picked up his 3rd foul early in the second quarter. Right. So when you don't have those 2 key cogs, it's a much different Minnesota Timberwolves offense. It's a much different Timberwolves team altogether. And so I think the Lakers took full advantage of that, but you can't rely on that every single night. You can't rely on the refs having 46 fouls called in the game. You just can't rely on that. So I just wonder if what we saw in game 2 was going to be the norm for the rest of the series, or whether that's going to be the outlier. I still haven't made up my mind about that, but you've got a tale of two two teams when you watch the first two games of this series for the Lake Show, and that bothers me that you don't have more consistency against this Minnesota Timberwolves squad.
Maybe a counter? Maybe. They're playing a team that was in the Western Conference Finals last year that many, including yourself, have said may have the face of the league in a few years, and this is an abnormal 3-6 matchup because if I told you this 6 was the 1 seed before the season, you would have believed it. That maybe the quote-unquote struggles for the Lakers should be happening because of how good the team is that they're playing.
Yeah, but Minnesota traded away a guy that was the number 1 overall pick once upon a time, and he's going to be an all-NBA performer in Karl Anthony Towns this offseason.
Yep.
So you can't really compare what we got from Minnesota last year to this year. It's not the same team.
No.
And so I guess that's the concern that I have. This is not supposed to be as good a Minnesota team as what we saw last year, and yet it feels like this is going to be a long series for the Lakers, and I wasn't sure coming into this matchup that was going to be the case.
The two other games last night, quickly here, were the Pacers up 2-0 on the Bucks now with their win last night over Giannis. I mean, Giannis had a great game, 34-18. We went through the ESPN bet parlays yesterday with some Bucks stuff, and we're like, maybe we stay away from the Bucks because we were a little bit nervous about that, even with Dame coming back off of the potentially horrific blood clot that he had. And then last night, Oklahoma City just continues to destroy Memphis. And thank you to CeCe Smalls because post-show, I said I may go ESPN bet minus 14.5 Grizzlies to cover.
Plus 14.
Plus, I get that wrong every time.
It's plus 14.
Yeah, plus 14.5 with the Grizzlies on ESPN bet. And he's like, I wouldn't do that.
It's a sucker's bet. It's a sucker's bet.
Well, I almost was a sucker last night.
Sucker's bet.
But
good looking out, CeCe.
Okay, I got to ask a question. We talk so much about the Bucks offseason, Giannis, etc. Let's ask one question here. Throwing it out there.
Go ahead.
Are we sure the Grizzlies shouldn't make moves just to get better and not to break it up? In other words, are we sure the job makes them better?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think we would be.
No.
It's not that he's not a great player. I'm not sure that he makes them better anymore because they're getting embarrassed.
So you think they should move on from him?
I'm starting to think they should, and I'm also not sure that the market is going to be that high for him or great for him, whatever the right word is.
Now on that side of it, I might have to push back. I think there will be people that think if he gets in the right locker room, if he's a part of the right culture from an organizational standpoint, if there's not a leadership void, they can get a different version of him.
Yeah, and I would be willing to take the risk.
Similar, I guess. Same logic, different issues with what we saw with Luka Doncic going to the LA Lakers. Same logic, like if we get him in the right building, if we have a championship mindset, then all of a sudden that's going to lend itself to getting the best version of this player. But one thing is it's abundantly clear. The Memphis Grizzlies with Ja Morant as their star are going nowhere.
Yeah.
They're going nowhere.
I can make the case, Smalls, and I'm not just doing this because we're all going to Wisconsin today. I can make the case that the Bucks will go back to Indy at 2-2. Theoretically, I can make the case. I cannot make the case that the Grizzlies are going back to OKC 2-2.
No, it's not a fair fight. It's not a fair fight with Oklahoma City. Is there a place that either of you have in mind that you think would be that place for Ja with the locker room and the leadership that you think would be a place where he could go and you could see him be the best version of himself consistently?
I mean, my default answer on this always is Miami, but
no, you don't want him in Miami.
Yeah, come on, Evan. Do we really think that's a fit?
Man, I don't.
So, but I always go to Miami or San Antonio or now Houston. I put in there with Ime Udoka.
I don't hate that. I don't